you wish to be great? Then begin by being. The higher your structure is to be, the deeper must be its foundation. Welcome to San Sebastian College Recoletos, Manila Grade School Department. Your child's strong foundation of love, Marian devotion, moral integrity, service, passion for excellence, community life, justice and peace. Situated in the heart of Manila, San Sebastian College Recoletos Grade School Department, with PAASCO Level 3 accreditation, has produced multifaceted, ingenious, and resilient graduates imbued with Augustinian Recollect values and continues to offer holistic, adaptive, quality Catholic Christian education. Life presents many choices, and the choices we make determine our future. Do we follow the heart or the mind? Do we go right or left? Do we lead or do we follow? When it comes to our children's education, there is no right or wrong choice, only the best choice. Why choose San Sebastian College Recoletos, Manila Grade School Department?
As a parent, we look for a school that we can trust. More than academics, it is important that we instill values to our kids during their formative years. And that's what San Sebastian College Grade School Department has to offer. They are true to their mission of providing good quality Christian education. And I myself knew it because I'm a product of our SSCR Grade School Department. Bravo, Baste!
I chose San Sebastian because of its emphasis in values education. I wanted a place for her wherein virtues are not just a matter of a memorization task or a fill-in-the-blanks test. I wanted a place wherein she could learn, practice, and internalize on a daily basis values that would last her all throughout her life, especially when I'm not around anymore. I'm glad that I enrolled her into San Sebastian since I've seen a lot of improvement when it comes to her interactions with her friends. And when we talk one-on-one, she feels a lot better about herself now.
Why do I look forward to coming to school?
Hello everyone, I'm Akira. Why do I look forward to coming to school? It will be another challenging year of online classes, but we get to spend more quality time with our family at home. I look forward to supporting my classmates, teachers, and school to always focus on the positive things, and no matter what obstacle we will face, we will solve it together. Wishing everyone good health and positive vibes. Bravo, Baste!
Studying in San Sebastian College, Manila is like opening a gift on Christmas Day. It is always exciting. I look forward for another productive year with my highly proficient teachers who are so loving and caring. I am proud to say that I belong to San Sebastian College community. Bravo, Baste!
I look forward to coming to school. I am forever thankful to Baste, especially to my teachers, because through them, I am always confident and inspired in my studies. I will never forget how excited I am every class because my teachers never failed to make us laugh with their jokes, their constant efforts to lighten the mood in the classroom, and made each class easy, deeply encouraged me to be present every day. Lessons may be hard at times, but in spite of that, I am always motivated to give my best because of the happy and fun spirit my teachers bring all the time. They pushed us to our limits, they believed in us, and kept on reminding us too that nothing is impossible if We also believe in ourselves. Their words of advice in each of our class had driven me to study hard. They made me believe that in doing so, I will not only learn a lot of things, but it will also help me reach my dreams that will definitely benefit my future. Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye!
I look forward to coming to school because I get to learn newfound knowledge, skills, and abilities through the quality Christian education that SSCR provides us. Join us now and be a Sebastian.
I am always excited to go to school because of my classmates and teachers. I also enjoy how our discussions are fun, but we also learn a lot from it. I love that we are always being encouraged to participate in class so that everyone is given a chance to share their knowledge, and that makes the lessons every day more exciting and fun.
I always look forward going to San Sebastian, whether face-to-face or online, because of the values I gained and the lessons I learned from my loving teachers. San Sebastian is my second home. Bravo, Baste!
Why do I look forward to coming to school? It is because I want to learn more, so that I can apply all the things that I learned that can help me to achieve my dreams in the future. I am also excited by the activities in the school programs that help me to improve my talents and skills. And I also enjoy when the teachers do different teaching ways so that we are learning and having fun at the same time.
In this coming school year, I'm really excited to learn new things, do all the performance tasks, and meet new classmates and teachers. I also find online classes challenging and fun at the same time. I'm James Michael Dimison. Bravo, Baste!
I'm looking forward to going back to school because I love everything about Boste. My classmates, teachers, and the playground. Also because I want to learn more and join cool activities.
Hi guys, I'm McCoy. Today I'm gonna tell you why I love my school, online or face-to-face. San Sebastian College Recoletos Manila grade school is so much fun. I look forward to games, making videos, and writing stories. So, that's how cool my school is. Bye!
I look forward coming to school, not only to learn but also to have fun. I'm excited to see my friends, my classmates, and my teachers again. Learning becomes fun when I'm with them.
When it comes to your child's education, San Sebastian College Recoletos Manila Grade School Department is not only the right choice, it is the best choice.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Irene Calderon. I am one of the MBA students who is actually coordinating this event, and we would like to welcome you all for another wonderful day to spend on learning. But this is outside of the classroom. Well, it's technically virtual, but still outside of our usual lectures. So this is under our global marketing class, and we have our guest speaker for today who will be talking about investing in the Philippines. But before that, we would like to invite you all for our prayer, and then followed by our Philippine national anthem.
as your children's laughter all around, all around.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's having a pleasant morning today. And to all our dear participants, we are very pleased with your presence and thank you for taking the time to join us. So, to formally start today's session, I'd like to call and welcome my colleague, Ms. Irene Calderon, to give us a short welcome remarks.
Thank you, Christy. And once again, good morning to everyone. I hope you're having a lovely morning. It's a Saturday, and I'm grateful that you gave us the time and opportunity to spend your time with us as you listen to our webinar for today. And of course, I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of our Dean of the Institute of Graduate Studies, Dr. Rodrigo Ponce Jr. Thank you so much, Doc, for giving us your time today. And of course, I would also like to welcome all the faculty and administration of San Sebastian College Recoletos, Manila, as well as our fellow students who are also in the audience. Thank you so much for your support for this webinar. And of course, we are going to be, we are welcoming someone who's invested in the Philippines for quite some time. And I'm really excited for this because this is also an eye-opener for all of us. Most of us are actually like, maybe some of us are already thinking that maybe Philippines is no longer a good country to invest in. But today we will listen to someone who's not even a Filipino, but is invested in the Philippines. So I encourage you to ask your questions and also to get your or to post your feedbacks as well if you have comments or suggestions on how we can also improve our next webinars. And then yes, we'll proceed to the introduction of the speaker. Let me once again welcome my colleague and my classmate, Ms. Christy Gamilia.
Thank you, Ms. Ice. Okay, so right now, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce this resource speaker, and thank you for accepting our invite for this. So our guest speaker today, he is born in South Tyrol, German enclave in northern Italy. He also graduated in tourism management and then studied philosophy in Verona, the city of Romeo and Juliet. His first job was a export manager in an Italian manufacturing company where he worked for 4 years, traveling all over the world, including Asia, which he fell in love with. And thank you so much for that. At that experience, he worked in Milan, London, and then Dubai, where he pursued his first passion, real estate, founding one of the most successful brokerage agencies in Dubai, catering to the Italian market. So in the United Arab Emirates, he also became the head of a private real estate fund until when, in 2011, he complete change of career, he decided to move to the Philippines. So in Manila, he started working with an Italian Filipino real estate developer as director for corporate affairs until the Italian Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines asked him to take charge as an executive director. So role which he kept with a brief stint as vice president for Mindanao until today. So again, I would like to welcome our speaker for today. And I will turn over this one to our speaker. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you, Christy, for the kind introduction. Thank you, Ivorine, and thank you also, Dr. Ponce, Dean for Graduate Studies. I am honored and I'm very pleased to be here with you today. So I don't know if we can already, if we are good to start, but again, I am invested in the Philippines. That's probably the right term. This 11 years that I came here, and I have to say Italy and the Philippines have actually many things in common. We have to consider that first of all, we are both Catholic populations, and you can really feel that when you are among the people, because as an Italian, you feel immediately at home. You can see that the background of values is pretty much the same. And also historically, when history books say that Spain invaded, colonized, that depends on the point of view, the Philippines for many hundreds years. At the beginning, there were a lot of Italians on these boats that were brought here. Why? Because also southern Italy was actually part of Spain back then. And so imagine you have a lot of Spanish Italians coming here, bringing with them their culture, their habits, their culinary delights. And so probably that's why in the Philippines, spaghetti are so much loved. Well, that could be a reason. Yes, we have just so many things in common. And I think they did a study one time. I can't remember who. The study was actually which of the populations would adapt the most in the Philippines. And in fact, the southern Italians were one of the number of the first three. So I actually can be a witness of that. Even though I'm not from southern Italy, I'm from northern Italy, but knowing my country, it is great to live here. So today's topic is actually doing business in the Philippines. Now, we can see this from 2 points of view. From a foreigner's point of view or from a Filipino point of view. I know that and probably Ivorine is witness of that. Most of the Filipinos that I know dream of landing a job abroad. going to work abroad is like this great ideal. But I always tell them, why would you want to go and work abroad when paradise is at hand? Of course, this is tricky now because, in fact, now we can actually enter into the heat of the discussion. So why is it tricky? Because probably salaries are not equivalent. And that's why a lot of people, apart from the experience that they can gain by working abroad, but I think it's mainly for the salary and to support their families. And that is something that actually I see, and I remember Duterte saying that he wishes that the Filipinos work here and they're able to get a good salary even in the Philippines, and we have been seeing that. So rising salary levels, which of course for the companies it's not ideal, but from labor perspective, especially skilled labor and also white collars. So, I mean, those people who work in offices, they are experiencing actually an increase in pay. I know that most of Filipinos would love this process to be shorter. So that means you would like to earn as much as you could earn in Dubai, Singapore, or the US right now. But I don't think that will be possible very soon because the country is actually on its good way for becoming a mid-income economy. And but that will just take a little bit of time because we still have 40% of the population who lives beyond the level of how do they call it, poverty level, right? So 40% needs still to be dragged out from there. We have seen, we have precedents here in Asia. China has done that greatly in over a time period of 20 years. And the Philippines is right now, if not the strongest growing or the second strongest growing economy here in Asia, even especially after the pandemic. So everything is actually rosy. So Ivorine, do you want me to present those slides that I had actually prepared? Yes, okay. Sige. Let me check. Okay, can you see this? Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so this is a little presentation which I carry around and show especially to foreign investors, because what the job of the Italian Chamber of Commerce is matchmaking between Italian investors or foreign investors in general and the Filipino counterparts. So they always ask us, okay, how is it doing business in the Philippines? And here is just some highlights. So first of all, I already mentioned a little bit of the history, but location-wise, the Philippines is in a perfect place, just at the center, a little bit more than a stone throw away from Japan, Taiwan, Korea, China, Hong Kong, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, which, by the way, is the strongest growing part of the world from an economic point of view. So ASEAN, and as we call it, +4, which would include Australia and New Zealand also, is actually the place to be at the moment. So the location is perfect. In fact, from being the second economy in Asia after Japan, it was in the 70s, I believe, it became the sick man of Asia, but that is more for Cold War reasons than anything else, to become now the next tiger of Asia, as it has been duped in the past years. So the Philippines, and I believe so, is really ready to conquer the world market again. And as Italian Chamber, we hope to contribute to that. So as one of the emerging economies in the world, the Philippines' shift of economic policies is vividly directing towards the prioritization of infrastructure and construction programs while maintaining large human capital investments. Because of course, with 110 million people, which we will see later, there are also some challenges. So the GDP is set to be growing over 6% per year for the next 20 years, actually. And so that means that that is an indicator that if you have the right business, it's the best place to be. That's why we strongly encourage Filipinos to become businessmen and invent their own work and business. So a few demographics, that's what is also important to understand why the Philippines will be growing for the next 20 years. Because the average age of these 110 million Filipinos is a little bit over 24 years old. I think 24.7 if I'm not mistaken. And the majority of those is even under the age of 40, actually 35. So you can see that from the pyramid. That means that from the bottom, there is a strong wave of future consumers coming up. And exactly these future consumers, they will need houses, they will need jobs, they will need to eat, they will form their families, they will buy cars, motorbikes, and so on and so forth. And that is actually what makes the economy grow. And many of those probably will also go work abroad, because we cannot debunk this myth of going to work abroad until the salaries are much higher than actually they are in the Philippines. So, meaning this is a very young population. And not only a young population, but also a diverse population, because we have seen there's more than 107 ethno-linguistic groups scattered all over the Philippines, where we have a similar thing in Italy, because 30 kilometers, for example, in the north, just to make a comparison, 30 kilometers from one city to the other, we don't understand each other if the people are talking in a dialect. So no clue what they're talking about, or different valleys in the north. So one valley is talking one dialect, another valley is talking a different dialect. We don't understand anything. So we know that. That's why Italian is actually a unifying language. And I guess the same happened here with Tagalog, even though a big part of the population speaks Visaya, but then TV and most of the other news programs are all in Tagalog. So that's why the population is now Tagalog oriented. And English, of course, English is the most important gift that the Americans left to the Philippines, because in the end of the day, this English knowledge is playing out very well, especially in going to work abroad, for example, in Anglo-Saxon markets, and in which we will see later. Okay. Now, another curiosity is that the Philippines is the biggest internet user, talking about social media, in the world, and with the longest hours. So I think the Philippines is really an addict to social media. Maybe can we say also an addict to gossip or chismes, as they say, because social media, the chismes travels faster. But what does that mean? If internet and online users, let me put it like that, internet still can be improved in the majority of the country because it's generally slow. But with this big amount of online users, there comes also business opportunities. Now, where are these business opportunities? all the online selling. As we see, we just need to check on our Facebook, on our Instagram, everywhere somebody's selling something online. If it is just clothes or even used clothes or Filipino food or many other things. So has really been an explosion of online selling. Also thanks to the pandemic, but these data are pre-pandemic. So even pre-pandemic, the Philippines was there at the forefront of this. So that means the online sellers and all the economy that circulates around this online business, including transport and logistics, because we see tons of motorbikes and motorbike delivery boys, delivery guys driving around not only Metro Manila, all over the country to deliver packages of the various online selling platforms that can be Amazon, Shopee, Lazada, and so on. By the way, Lazada is also one of our platinum sponsors of the Italian Chamber. And I've been personally witness to, sorry, to what Lazada actually can bring to the various online entrepreneurs. And it is amazing online platform, which is there for the taking. It's ready. So anyone who would like to start selling on Lazada can actually with very little effort. And this is a big opportunity, which many Filipinos are already taking. So that is something that makes a difference. As we have seen foreign investors coming to the Philippines, and what we are offering them, hey guys, why don't we actually put you already on Lazada? And we can organize also the logistics for them. So young or old, big company or small company, the playing field is pretty much level. Then, of course, the big companies have more money to spend on online marketing. But again, they're all starting from a level playing field. In fact, transport and logistics, that's actually the next big thing. It's already a big thing, especially on a small level. You see the small Vespa motorbike there. But on with 7,000 islands and no excellence in highways in the Philippines, even though the roads are actually good. So one can go around with ease. There is a lot of flights going to the major cities, but still a large part of the population remains poorly served from a logistic point of view. And there is a lot of room for improvement. So the next thing is, of course, what we see. Okay, the next thing is the outsourcing centers that we see rising all over the country. Would you mind if I grab a glass of water just for a moment? Huh?
Yes, sir.
There we go. Okay. So these outsourcing centers have actually been an amazing tool for creating jobs. And as I said before, the English language came actually to the advantage of the Filipinos here. With the flexible workforce, a growing market. And this brings in foreign investment. Why? Because these outsourcing services are being given to foreign companies, especially Anglo-Saxon markets, so the US, Australia, New Zealand, the UK. And the Philippines has actually become bigger than India in this, and voice and also non-voice. So non-voice is all the data centers. For example, when medical transcriptions or even online designing and video editing, that's now becoming very big also in the Philippines. And you will see also in the job posts, there is a lot of job. Just give me 1 second more. I think I'm struggling with aircon over here. So it takes my voice away when the aircon goes directly to me. Okay, so that's better. So yes, I was saying the jobs that are being offered that are trending right now. You see video editing, especially because from social media needs, they're being given to Filipinos from many countries, especially the biggest economy in the world in that sense, which is the US, English speaking, of course. And we will see also a big trend of Chinese who will come here to learn English, or who will need the Filipinos for English online courses also. And that is going to explode in the next years to come. Okay, now it's not changing. Just give me a moment. Okay, there you go. Now the labor. You know, many companies, when they come to the Philippines, they ask me now, what is the Philippine work force like? Because they see that, especially in the provinces, which are growing exceptionally well. In fact, one of the good trends was the run to the provinces in the recent years. And that also helped the provinces to raise salary levels. It helped to bring some economic growth on all levels, from construction, from land development. We've seen a lot of malls. We've seen many actually moving to the provinces from Metro Manila or from the bigger cities. And that's actually an excellent trend because it allows the country to grow more organically. So the pros, when they ask me, is of course the English, the great empathy that Filipinos have, and that works out great, especially on customer service, online customer service jobs. They're very creative. So the creativity of Filipinos is then being used also in making videos or arts and designs. And the pros are the salaries, meaning that compared to other countries, Filipinos have lower salaries. And that makes it attractive for some companies to invest, because compared to Europe or the US, they can actually save more than half of the salary. Now the cons instead are, there is a tendency of having unionized labor, which is not to the favor of the companies. There is a very high rate of absenteeism. So every time the brother, sister, cousin, or whoever has a birthday, and then they drink too much, next day they don't show up for work. So that is especially true in the provinces. And the numerous holidays that the Philippines have. So there is an excuse for everything. Oh, let's make this a holiday. Let's make that a holiday. So it's really not really encouraging for a company, because all a company wants to do is to be efficient. Now, all these things go against the efficiency of a production line or the efficiency of a company. So that needs a little bit of thought. And the other great thing that actually happened to the Philippines was the Duterte's build push. And that has brought a lot of spending, government spending into infrastructure. And infrastructure ultimately is for the benefit of the people. So when roads are built, when bridges are built, when highways are built or train lines, so that all goes back to the people. But on the other hand, that fosters economic development in general, because there's a lot of people being employed in the construction sector. And in addition, it allows the expansion of cities. It allows the expansion of the population. And again, that allows more inclusiveness and allows now also for the creation of specialized jobs in the construction sector. For example, it would be a great idea to open up a plumbing company right now, or open up carpentry company, or just installation would be doing great, because I hear a lot of companies, they're struggling to find installators for, kitchens, for bathrooms, or many things. So there's actually a lot of room for entrepreneurship. And that is actually a big opportunity. Now, from a foreigner's point of view, we actually have to present a less attractive picture of the Philippines when it comes to comparing the Philippines to other countries in Asia. For example, if you compare to Singapore or to Vietnam, we're really lagging behind. Vietnam and Singapore, one can own land, own property, open up a company, be the owner of that company. And here in the Philippines, we see that the entry level is at $200,000, meaning that there is a restriction beyond the $200,000. A foreigner can own only 40%, which is a limiting factor. Because again, if somebody has more than $200,000, or even many more than that, millions, then why should he choose the Philippines if he's being presented with a lot of hurdles? We will see the real hurdles in a while. But that does not deter, of course, the most convinced foreign investors to come to the Philippines. But it disencourages a lot of smaller ones, which if they come and somebody invests even $100,000, I guess he will employ a lot of Filipinos. So that actually means we are losing jobs here by having these restrictions. Okay, so the investment no-no for a foreign investor is the high entry level, the protectionism, when a lot of jobs are just for Filipinos only, lang, and then we have the corporate ownership restrictions, which we just saw, land ownership restrictions. The judicial system is slow. The corruption mainly protects local players, meaning in disputes over payments with a foreign entity, the local player normally wins. Why? Because maybe he's right, or maybe he does something to be right. So that's also something that, for example, international legal firms always underline. And then, in my opinion, there is also an inadequate visa system for these changing times and modern jobs. Let's think about a digital nomad who would like to live in the Philippines. He must take a tourist visa. Of course, he cannot work here, but he doesn't want to work here, but he wants to work from here. And if you think that, for example, Dubai and other countries, they actually already have these kind of visas, so digital nomads visas, and they ask these digital nomads to pay a yearly fee um, for uh, um, for having this visa, and then they're allowed to live there and thrive in the country. So we could basically do the same. And there is a digital nomad who lives in the Philippines. Well, he will pay rent, he will eat here, so he will spend his money here. And that's what we need. It increases our GDP. And the same is for regional sales reps. The same is for many other jobs that actually are present worldwide, for people who actually could easily live in the Philippines, but we do not have an appropriate visa for them. So there is a lot of them here with a tourist visa, and we're losing out because we could actually charge them a little bit more for their visa, put them, ask a minimum amount of taxes, and that all increases the income of Filipinos. So that is actually investment, and moving to Philippines, no. Then recently, I have to say that the government has made huge improvements. And I just mentioned a few. In fact, what we have seen with the Duterte administration was actually what they have done for foreign investment, for the liberalization, was probably like no other administration before. Just a few examples here. The Retail Liberalization Act. Before, for example, a chain, even a fashion chain, let's say Gucci, Armani, and so on, for just coming to the Philippines, they had to put down 25, now what is it, 2.5 million US dollars as paid up capital. And then an additional 500,000 US dollar per each store. Now, that is absolutely astonishing if you think that the amounts that are involved and the business that they create and the employment that they create. In fact, now it has been lowered to 25 million per store, which is, sorry, in general, 25 million. And this is basically to allow also smaller retail chains to enter the Philippines and take up rental space in the various malls or in the various business districts. And that again is positive because it creates jobs. And the other thing that the Liberalization Act has done is has transferred to TUSEC most of the regulatory assignments, so at least it's more streamlined. But of course, as we read here, the DTI remains to have authority over foreign retailers who have or will have sole proprietorship in the Philippines. Then the next thing, so this Retail Liberalization Act means that now we will most likely see a lot of smaller retailers that are present around the world to come to the Philippines, and it will be cheaper for them. Then we have the Innovative Startup Act, which is really something that I admire because it could allow a new Google or a new real tech startup to start right from the Philippines with foreign investors or with foreign brains. Because if you think, why should Silicon Valley be the only place to have a new Google or Microsoft or whatever? Why not the Philippines? Why can the Philippines not be the promised land for business? In fact, this Startup Act, Innovative Startup Act, was signed into law into 2019, and it aims to strengthen, promote, and develop an innovative and entrepreneurial ecosystem and culture in the Philippines in general. And it also would allow 100% ownership for foreigners from the startup level, allowing for the creation of new companies. So that is really a game changer. Now, but because we know that the Philippines is always complicated since 2019, this law has never entered into full effect, even though the implementing rules and regulations have been written. But there are still the guidelines missing, which are supposed to be given by the UST, DTI, and another agency. So we're still there. 3 years on, we still don't have an implementation of this law, which I hope now with the new government we can actually finally implement. Then the other law, which has been a game changer, is the Public Service Act Amendment, which now has taken out the foreign ownership restrictions, especially in the in the public services, meaning that, for example, a metro train operator could now be a foreign. We've seen this also with, for example, water supplies. So we've seen this with a lot of supplies that actually go to the public, but which were completely restricted from foreign ownership. And so now that opens up the market for foreign players to come in and bring in technology, because again, opening up and liberalizing the market doesn't mean that it hurts Filipinos. It just means that the market will be better served. There will be more technologies and there will be more competition. And more competition means that the consumer actually will enjoy a better product. Because if there is a monopoly, then you just get what is being served on the table. But if you have a menu to choose from, well, then you choose according to your own needs. And that's why opening the economy, like we have done in Italy, we don't have any restrictions. Filipinos can come and live there, buy land, houses, open any type of company, and to do any kind of job. I mean, this is how we grow up. We do not close towards foreign investment or foreign workers. And I understand the structure of the Philippine economy is more built around conglomerates and bigger families. So that's why there has been so far a little bit of protectionism, which slowly is going to fade. That's what we hope. So that's the sentiment of foreign. So now, our foreigners, I'm talking about bigger companies now, because smaller companies, that's a different story. Now, what is the sentiment of foreigners when they have to come and invest in the Philippines? Now, we have heard before there is a lot of restrictions. So not everything is allowed to foreign investors, which is a good and a bad thing at the same time. Now, apart from the fact of land ownership, which is debatable, but for example, if a bigger company has to build a big manufacturing plant and invest hundreds of millions of dollars, the spirit of investing this money to employ thousands and thousands of Filipino workers, the spirit is probably not going to be a motivated spirit if there is going to be so many hurdles brought towards the investor. Again, many choose other countries because they welcome them with open arms, and sometimes investors feel that the Philippines is actually shielding, saying, no, we can do this alone, thank you so much. Maybe you can visit another country. And that is really a lost opportunity, because despite many have said so, foreigners don't take away jobs from Filipinos. They add. they add knowledge. And if somebody invests here and brings even as low as 20 or $50,000, he brings it to this country, and he will definitely employ Filipinos, adding to the local economy. So I see sometimes that the Philippines has the opportunity, like the US before, to be the promised land. Just open up. Say, we welcome you. Come here. Let's build this economy together. And the Philippines could really grow to one of the top players in the world. So that's my personal feeling. So that actually ends my presentation, and I am very open to your questions and to the whys and the hows.
All right. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Lawrence Ziller, the Executive Director of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines. You mentioned earlier about the business matching. So I was wondering, because you, of course, you represent the ICCPI, would like to know if can Filipino companies also be a member of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, or do you only accept Italian companies based in the Philippines?
Absolutely, anyone can become a member of the Italian Chamber in the Philippines. We have a lot of companies from Singapore, Hong Kong, Thailand, Malaysia, of course in Europe, mainly Italy, but around 40 to, no, not 40, 50 to 60% of our members are from the Philippines.
All right, that's brilliant. Because I know that we have colleagues and classmates here who are also business owners and who might want to explore in becoming a member of the ICCPI. And of course, we would also like to ask if there are top 3 things that you love about the Philippines. This is a very common Filipino question to all of the foreigners that we know, but we would like to know the top 3 things that you love about the Philippines. Why the Philippines for 11 years?
A very difficult question. No, it's actually not a difficult question, but yesterday I was at a very interesting event organized by Dusit Tani and the Department of Tourism, and it is the Philippine Food Festival. Now, even though Philippine food is not really ranked as one of the top in the world, but I think in the next 10 years, it will actually come out as a new culinary discovery. I love Filipino food, but the problem with Filipino food is that it is not presented the way it should be presented. You go around many times, they give you a pot here, this is your food. No, wait a moment. Can you put it nicely in a plate and some garnish, like they do in restaurants, modern restaurants? I think we are getting there. New Filipino chefs are coming out. There is really an excellent movement to bring Filipino food to the level that it deserves, because I love really the Filipino dishes, from Luzon to Visayas and Mindanao. Absolutely great. That's not only, of course, the only reason. Then, for example, I don't like to live in the cold. And the climate in the Philippines is just brilliant. It's a tropical climate. It's not too humid. It's always a little windy because we're surrounded by the sea. And it's just perfect. Perfect for me. Maybe other people think it's too hot, but definitely I don't like to live in a climate where there is minus 10 degrees in a winter, or when I wake up in the morning, there is 1 centimeters of ice on my car. This is just not for me. It's actually a life choice. The comfort of the climate. Yeah. And then I'm actually not so much a beach goer, and I'm not a diver. So unlike other foreigners who love that, I prefer the mountain. So if I can go trekking or drive around mountainous areas. That's more me than others who like to jump in the water or roast on a beach.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Because we usually ask our foreign friends what they love about the Philippines, and they would usually go for the climate first and then the food. Although you're one of those Europeans who love the Filipino food, because I don't know a lot of Europeans who
But
love Filipino food.
number one is definitely because of the Filipinos.
Ah, yes.
Here they make you feel at home. So that is definitely, despite all, despite the climate and the food, that's because of the human capital that the Philippines has.
Yes, I would totally agree with that. Although my agreement with you would probably be biased. Anyway, I would like to ask the audience that we are now opening the floor for any questions or clarifications regarding the presentation of Mr. Ziller here. And if you have, again, if you also have questions regarding the ICCPI, you can also ask them now. We have a couple of minutes before we close before we close the open forum. So ask away. And so while we're waiting for our classmates and schoolmates to ask questions also to our guests, we would like to thank Mr. Lawrence Ziller for giving us the time and the effort, the energy to present to us why foreigners invest in the Philippines. At times, we tend to forget the reasons. You know, as Filipinos, we tend to forget the reasons why Philippines is still a beautiful, beautiful country where there are beautiful people, beautiful sceneries, and aside from that, there's enormous opportunities waiting for everyone to just focus their energies and efforts on building a business in the Philippines. Okay, so also we would like to, while we're waiting for some of the questions, if there are any, we would also like to invite everyone to kind of fill out the evaluation form for this webinar. Also for your certificate, it's kindly click on the link that was posted on the chat box. And with that, I think
Miss Calderon, can I ask something?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Doc.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ziller, for that excellent what you call that, a widespread experience of yours of talking about business in the Philippines, investing as well as doing business in the Philippines. I'm just curious of, for the past 2 years, we experienced the pandemic. And, I would like to know the perspective or how the foreign investors look at it in the perspective of business in the Philippines, and what would be now the direction of business in the Philippines, taking into consideration that of course we are still into the pandemic and hopefully it will not be coming back, what we experienced 2 years ago. So what's the status of this in terms of from the foreign perspective?
Well, is the question about the pandemic or is the question about what to do after the pandemic?
Both.
Okay, well, in general, I think there has been an acceleration of trends thanks to the pandemic. We mentioned before the trend to move back to the provinces, and that's a positive trend because it decongests the Metro Manila, especially, and maybe also other cities. Even though lately I have seen the traffic coming back as the usual before the pandemic, which I did not appreciate so much. It was actually so brilliant to walk around when there was nobody around, right? And yes, I just hope that the Philippine government will understand that lockdowns and let's say harsh measures which we have seen, for example, in China lately, don't really bring a result. They just ruin lives and livelihoods. And so far we have seen that we have not had mass extinction, even though big amount of Filipinos have not even been vaccinated. When during those years I've been in the province, and believe me, nobody was wearing a mask or a face shield around. And, there has been no mass extinction, so that should make people think. But anyway, I'm glad that we had this vaccination program, and which now has had an effect of, let's say, lowering the impact of this COVID. And actually, I now hope that with the great comeback of the economy, we can all jump back in and do business again. And now, do business, I think the colleges and universities have a very big role in preparing the students for the life after, not the afterlife, but the life after. And it is important that the colleges and universities partner with private companies to get the students out and gather experience. With internships and other various programs. Even the Italian Chamber has a program for internship. We always take students, especially in digital arts students, because we do have a lot of work there, and we have seen companies and members of ours always asking if we can help them to find this kind of people. So definitely, I hope that also the San Sebastian College will reach out to us, and maybe we can set up an internship program.
That's great. That's great. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Once again, Mr. Ziller, although I think the MBA students do not have internships, but we would be very willing to be accommodated.
It is a voluntary internship.
Voluntary internship.
Even if it's not prescribed by the university or the college, I would recommend to undergo a voluntary internship. Because what you learn on the workplace, you will not learn in years of study. Yes. Yeah, it really, the knowledge that you bring from your studies, you really need to apply it as soon as possible.
That's true. I would definitely agree with that. And another question from our audience. As a foreign, what is your thoughts in investing in an online services like selling products, importing and exporting, and also your advice to those companies who want to start their online marketing or services?
Yeah, as I said before, we have different selling platforms like Lazada. They're there. Those who sell products can definitely already jump into a ready-made ecosystem. And then they just need to focus on advertising and promoting their product, because the rest is done. Now, importing and exporting is actually, again, a challenge, because you need an import license, an export license, you need to deal with red tape. So that needs a little bit more capital. But definitely, importing the right product can really be a very successful thing. But again, capital is very much necessary for this, because, you know, even people, they think, oh, I'll become an entrepreneur. Even if you have a good idea, but if you don't have the money, your good idea goes to waste. Even you grow your business. Let's say today I buy, just to make it simple, pardon me. Today, if you have money to buy 10 bananas, right? And then they pay you for the 10 bananas. Tomorrow, you need to buy 20 bananas. Where do you get the money for the 20 bananas? Then if you have to buy 100 bananas, where do you get the money for the 100? Right? The more you grow, the more money you need. So if the product that you're importing has a big margin, you can cover your growth with that margin, but you can only grow a little by little, as much as the margin allows you. Or you need to find an investor that invests with you and borrows you the money to grow fast. So that is what I would recommend here in evaluating, when evaluating if to start an import-export business. The capital is very important. Now for export, that can be interesting because export normally is being paid in advance or via letter of credit. Now, if you source the product here, maybe you can get 30 days terms. And by those 30 days terms, you have already your letter of credit and the bank can give you a facility. So with the letter of credit, that is like a security for the bank and that will allow you to borrow money and pay for your goods. So that's probably export should definitely be also an interesting tool. And if done with cleverness, it doesn't need so much capital like importing products.
All right. Thank you so much for that very comprehensive answer. And of course, we are receiving gratitude messages on our chat box. So once again, thank you, Mr. Ziller, for your time and energy this morning. Mr. Ziller, do you have any further announcements that you may wish to share with us, or any final words before we close the open forum?
Well, I started this talk by saying many Filipinos dream to work abroad. I would like to invite the Filipinos to rethink that and consider entrepreneurship in the Philippines. Because if they do it now, maybe in 10 years' time or 20 years' time, there will be big entrepreneurs here. While if you go work abroad and lend your brain or your arms to someone else, after 20 years, you will come back, yes, with a little bit of money, but you will come back as just an OFW and with no added value. So follow your dreams. And if it's working abroad, okay, so be it. But if it's entrepreneurship, maybe the Philippines is the right place to be.
Yes, I would agree with that. Of course, invest in your own home, right? So thank you so much once again on behalf of the Global Marketing class and San Sebastian College, Recoletos, Manila. We'd like to thank Mr. Lawrence Ziller, the Executive Director of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines. And we would also like to award you an e-certificate, which citations will be read by my classmate, Miss Christy.
Okay, thank you once again, Mr. Ziller. I would love to meet you someday soon if time would permit. It was really a pleasure to have you today. I myself are one of the aspiring entrepreneurs, so I would really love to hear more good advices coming from you, especially right now that I am trying to go on a global scale market as well. So I would appreciate if you can share some good experiences to me as well. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna learn a lot from you. So
Certainly.
with that, also thank you for offering mentorship for everyone in the San Sebastian College, and we would try to communicate with our dean or with the other graduates studies here if they will be interested in joining to be part of the mentorship program. And we are really grateful for that opportunity you're giving to us for all Filipinos. Okay, so right now we would like to present to you our gratitude, the e-certificate of recognition to Mr. Lawrence Ziller as our resource speaker today. So I would like to present this recognition to Mr. Lawrence Ziller, the Executive Director of the Italian Chambers of Commerce, in grateful appreciation of his genuine generosity for sharing his expertise as the resource speaker on the topic Investing in the Philippines webinar, given this 11th day of June 2022 at the San Sebastian College, Recoletos, Manila, Philippines. And thank you again, Mr. Lawrence Miller, for sharing your time, effort, and energy today. It was a really great and amazing presentation.
Okay, thank you too for having me.
Thank you so much. And once again, we would also like to thank everyone for joining us today. But before that, we would also like to hear hear it from Dr. Rodrigo F. Ponce Jr., our Dean of Institute of Graduate Studies, for the closing remarks.
You're on silent, I guess.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Calderon and Ms. Gamilia, for the facilitation. And good morning, everyone, in this Zoom meeting and those that are in the Facebook Live. It gives me great pleasure to deliver these closing remarks. Allow me first to convey our special thanks and appreciation to the SSCR Manila religious and lay administrators, the faculty members who are also here, and our non-teaching personnel, as well as also students from the graduate schools and few from the college department. And our sincerest gratitude to the MBA Global Marketing class and the Institute of Graduate Studies for co-organizing this webinar. And I would like also to thank the resource person here, Mr. Lawrence Ziller, the Executive Director of the Italian Chamber of Commerce, for sharing his expertise and the important knowledge on investing and doing business in the Philippines. In my concluding remarks, I would like to thank all of you once again for your engagement. And let me end by assuring you that San Sebastian College, Recoletos, Manila, and the Institute of Graduate Studies will continue to facilitate a series of webinars and training to enhance our knowledge, skills, and competencies in the field of business, arts, and sciences. Thank you very much, and may our families be covered by the merciful mantle of God's protection this year, 2022, and in the challenging days to come. Bravo IGS and bravo Baste.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ponce. And once again, we would like to thank everyone for joining us today in this webinar. And thank you so much to Mr. Lawrence Ziller. Grazie mille, arrivederci, Lawrence. And mula sa aming lahat, maraming salamat sa iyong pagdating at pag-share ng iyong mga nalalaman sa investing in the Philippines. Ayun, hindi ko nga nabuo yung Tagalog ko. Anyway, with that, let's all put ourselves in the presence of God as we submit ourselves in the closing prayer, and we will be ending with our SSCR hymn. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, and God bless you all. Bravo, Baste!
Miss Lexi, we can now play probably the SSCR hymn. Mom Lexi. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I thought I was able to share my screen.
It's okay.
Dear alma mater.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Thank you, Miss Calderon. Thank you, Miss Gamilia. Thank you, Lexi. Thank you so much.
Thank you po din.
Thank you.